All right, so a little update I got for you on my 91 F250. I put the bumper on it. It is looking pretty nice. I do say so myself. I had to cut 3.5 inches off the front of the 95 frame to fit it. Let's see, I'm gonna zoom in there. I had to cut the front of it off. You can't tell, but I also got to drill the upper hole still, but I got one bolt in there. It's in there pretty good for now. But yeah, no, it's looking nice. And I raised it up a little bit from the factory. Kind of clean up the gaps these trucks had, so. And the reason why most of them were kind of had a crappy gap from the factory is a lot of the rad supports on these trucks rotted out, and the body mounts didn't really do anything, so the body kind of just flopped on top of the frame there. But that's all clean on this truck now. I put new rad support in it and everything, so it'll be looking sharp for a long time to come. That's for sure. Yeah, definitely cleaned up the front of it by putting the old bumper rack on. I steel wooled the bottom of it. I was able to get the big old rust streak out here. There's it had burned through. There is a bit of rust here that did end up getting it over time, so that's okay though. It's not a massive hole. It's just a couple little nicks. You can't even barely notice it from 10 feet away. It's not like this truck's perfect either. This side's a bit more screwed up. I think in the summertime I'll work on this a bit more, but it didn't turn out half bad. Looks pretty good for a truck that's been pieced together, I'd say. My next little update on this will be putting tachometer in it. I got the factory gauge tachometer set out of another truck. Hopefully I'll be able to put it in this gauge cluster. We'll see, because this is it's a manual, and it'd be nice to have a tach. I can shift it without a tach, but it'd be nice to know if that would work or not, because I think a little catch-up meter would be kind of cool in this, as Pag would say. Anyways, so that's a little update on this one. And I'm going to update you on the mud bogger. So I got the motor back in it most of the way anyway. I just got to do up a couple more motor mount bolts, but it's bolted to the tranny. The torque converter's in it. And yeah, it should be most of the way back together here pretty soon. It's about -16 right now, and it's going to get colder. So the odds of me working on this thing with no heat in the shop is going to be pretty slim. But when it warms back up, you bet I'll be back out here plugging away at this thing. But yeah, no, she's all put back together. All sitting in there. His chain's just loose. It's all sitting under its weight. It's the truck that this engine and transmission came out of. Had a brand new, pretty much rebuilt transmission. Apparently that's what my dad said. So it makes sense they got a new torque converter in there too. But I just replaced it. And then we got a couple of next things we got to do is route these tranny lines to that transmission cooler. Keep that tranny alive. And do the wiring. Also, I ordered a new distributor for that. So we'll do a video on installing that and wiring it all up and shit. And then, yeah, I just got to put her all back together again. Oh yeah, and if you're wondering how much to cut off, this is how much you gotta cut off. That's how much frame you gotta cut off to put the brick nose on an error nose. Because their frames look like this. They're different. They're a bit different. But that's how much you gotta cut off. Just right behind the bracket here. That's how you swap your arrow nose to a brick nose or whatever.